Can we be honest about something? Church isn't always easy. I often think about that promise Jesus made to his followers that his yoke is easy and his burden is light. That may be true, but participating in a church often feels heavy and hard. Christians and non-Christians alike have pointed out the near constant discrepancies between the life of Jesus and those who follow him. There are times Jesus' followers represent him with miraculous grace and boldness and sacrifice. And there are times we fail to live up to what we really believe. But still, the church persists. The church continues. And believers across time and geography continue to give their lives serving and sacrificing for these little pockets of believers. Eventually, we come to realize that just like our own lives, broken, flawed, and at times disappointing, it's in these imperfect places that God chooses to do his work, in each of us and collectively in his church. The early church wasn't perfect either. Many of those first believers failed to live up to what they really believed as well, including some of the great apostles. There was confusion and disagreement, frustration and conflict, differences of opinion, and hotly debated topics. Like us, they often struggled to hold on to all that the church could be. Even the disciples had to work through differences, discerning the gospel's implications for how they lived and worked amongst one another. But those first churches also understood something critical about living and participating in the church. The church is a place where we learn to give, not just to take. It's a place where we learn to serve, not just to consume. That often makes it messy, but it possesses a power of subversion to challenge not only the world's priorities, but our own. In the book of Acts, there's a remarkable description of how those early believers worshiped together. We read in Acts 2, "All the believers devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching, and to fellowship, and to sharing in meals, including the Lord's Supper, and to prayer. A deep sense of awe came over them, and the apostles performed many miraculous signs and wonders. And all the believers met together in one place and shared everything they had. They sold their property and possessions and shared the money with those in need. They worshiped together at the temple each day, met in homes for the Lord's Supper, and shared their meals with great joy and generosity, all while praising God and enjoying the goodwill of all the people. And each day the Lord added to their fellowship those who were being saved." That description of what a church can be has always challenged us to work towards and believe in something more than just a building with programs. What Acts 2 describes is a people willing to share all things. And if you think that means only physical possessions, you've missed the real heart of it. They were willing to share all things. To mourn together, to celebrate together, to lift up one another's needs in prayer, to confess to one another, and to, if called, give their very lives. They devoted themselves. What does it mean to be devoted? Surely it's more than attendance, more than a monthly tithe check. There was something deeper about their commitment to this group of Jesus' followers. They devoted themselves, all of themselves, to it, to one another. The church requires our devotion precisely because it doesn't always work for us. It's not hard to commit to something that's all about us and what we need. But church requires our devotion because sometimes we're required to give more than we had planned on giving. We're devoted because we go into it realizing that it isn't always easy. Like so many of the things that matter most in life, devoting yourself to a church stretches you and challenges you. It calls you to more and leads you by commitment to something new. Really, we devote ourselves to it because we first devoted ourselves to Christ, and because we realize it's for this church, this ragtag of sometimes difficult people, that Christ gave his life. The church is his body. To be in him is to be a part of it. To learn to love what he loves is a challenge we all desperately need, a path to far better things than we could demand or find on our own. So like those first believers, we devote ourselves to His church. Listen.